So we have studied what are containers, a list being the first container that we have talked about. Let's say how we can access the elements in a container. So we can access, in order to access an element, just like if I give you a task, like there is a U-Haul box placed in front of you, and it contains, let's say, number of letters in it, envelopes, okay? And if I say that I have to pick the envelope, the 20th envelope, for example, okay? So the 20th envelope. So what would you do first? The box is in front of you containing so many envelopes, and I ask you to pick the 20th one. So where will you start from? Come on, a very common question. Like, just assume that box is placed on your desk, and I ask you to pick the 20th letter, 20th envelope. What will you do? You start counting from 1 and you pick the 20th envelope. That's the same approach, right? So, same as the envelope, I have named it like first envelope, second envelope, third envelope. Similarly, in the elements in a list or a container, is given a specific value, which we call index. Okay, and that the index always starts from 0. Okay, so I would say the element at index number 0. So it will retrieve the element, whatever the element is stored at index 0. So you may consider index as like addresses of anything. So for example, in this first row, I could say that the person sitting on the 0th chair, and then the first chair, and then the second chair, and then third, and so on. Okay, so the person sitting on the second chair is Mike. Okay, because we are starting our counting from 0, not 1. And in programming language, all structures, all containers like arrays in C, C++, Java, they all starts their indexing and counting from 0. Okay. So always remember this, because many students get confused in what is the 0th element, what is the first element. So let's take this as an example. When you create a list or a container, let's call it prices, and there are 3 different types of data. So one is first is the string, second one is floating point, and the third one is integer. So this example also shows that you can have multiple types of data in the same container. You cannot do that in other programming language like C, C++. Okay, you have to specify an array. While declaring an array, you have to specify whether the array will be containing integer types data or string, characters, or floating point values. Okay, so here you can do that. So once you declare or write this statement, it actually reserves a space and a memory in your computer. It reserves a consecutive memory locations in computer. So for example, the first one will have value 20, and the second one will have 14.95, and whatever you add next, it will go next to each other. Okay, and their indexes values are 0, 1, 2. So if you have to access any particular element from this list, you need to specify its index value. So how would you do that? Is by using this prices and then writing the index value within the square brackets. So it will go here, Python will go here, look at the prices, and it starts counting from 0, 1. So this is the first index, so whatever is stored in here, it will return that value. Okay? And while accessing any element, this index value must always be a whole number, integer. Although it is 1, I cannot write it 1.0. Okay? I cannot write it 0.0. It must always be the whole integer. Okay? Integer value. And this is what it is mentioned here. So when you specify 1, it returns the second element. This is the first element placed at 0th index. This is the second element placed at index 1, and so on and so forth. Okay? So similarly, when I write prices 0, it will return $20. Whatever is stored at this location, it will be returned. Okay? Any question? Yes?
It's the same in Java as well, right?
Yeah, same as Java. Same in other programming language. So indexes is the standard that it starts always from 0. So this thing, this index part, can also be an expression. Okay. So for example, I have, let's say, an array my underscore list, and let's say it has some elements, let's say A, B, C, and D. Okay. And when I write my underscore list, and I want to access a value, for example, 1, what do you think will it return?
B.
It will return B because I'm specifying the index. Index always starts from 0, and this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. Okay? I can have an expression here. You have a question? Yeah.
Yeah. Are you able to put 2 indexes at once, or not?
2 indexes. So, I mean, index would be same, but what I'm saying here is we can have an expression here. So this part will be evaluated first. So it knows what is 1, but it does not know what is the value of I. The value of I must be defined before it actually reaches to this point. So I, let's say, we have defined somewhere up there, so I equals 1. So when this part is calculated, so 1 plus 1 becomes 2. So it should return the value stored at index number 2. So what do you think will it return here? It will now return C. Okay? Make sense? Yep.
So inside of the indexes, could you make the value of a element like 14.3 plus 1 like an expression?
The value or the index?
Like inside the value.
Here in this part?
No, the one above.
Yeah, we can have different values. So let's say we have A, B, C, D, and then we can have, 14.3, 10, multiple different types of data as shown in this example as well. This is what you can do in Python, but not in any other programming language. Okay. Any other question? So you get that we can have an expression inside the brackets while we are intending to access any element. Okay? All right, so we have discussed containers, we have discussed how to access the element. Now let's see how we can update the existing element. We can also update the existing element. So first, lists are mutable. Mutable means like we can delete the element, add the element, modify it. So the list size can grow or can shrink. There are some objects, there are some containers which are fixed once they are created. We cannot modify them, but list is not one of them. Okay, so for example, here, my underscore list, and if I say something, let's say 3, okay, so it will give me an access to the element at index number 3, which is what in this example? What is the index, what is the value at index 3? D, right? So this part gives me an access to this location. I can assign a new value to it, maybe 100. So what will happen? This value will now be replaced with new value 100. Okay? So this is how we can update data in our list. Update the whatever you can call it, updating the database or whatever. And this is another example mentioned up here in the slides. So initial state of the list, we call it my underscore nums here. And then what we are doing is we are accessing the first element of my underscore nums and assigning it a new value. Okay? So equal minus 28, it means that you are giving it a new value at that location. And when you print it again, you see the updated state of the list. We will see it in a while when we will do hands-on practice. Understand? So accessing and updating value is almost similar. The only difference is in updating, you just add equal and you assign a new value to it. Okay?